many times tonight have you said McKnight was right?
I am so pumped for McKnight tonight.
See if you can work out why it infuriated me. You know I will get hate for speaking to you. Oh, speaking of Rant.
Funny, insightful interviews from a washed-up producer with nothing to lose. McKnight tonight. Here comes McKnight tonight.
Welcome to McKnight Tonight. Now, here's Rob McKnight.
Hello and welcome to McKnight Tonight. It is Monday the 17th of November 2025. Gosh, it's good to be back with you. We took a couple of nights off last week because I was sick. I'm still sick, if I'm to be completely honest, but hoping I can get through it. I miss doing this. There's so much to talk about. And I've even got the honey and lemon going in here with the McKnight Tonight cup. They come in handy for everything. You can still buy them. So yes, got the honey and lemon, which anyone who knows me, I don't eat honey. So if I'm having the honey and lemon, you know that I really need it. There's so much going on. There's leadership whispers, party fractures, newspapers. They're practically auditioning new Liberal leaders on the front page. And tonight I am keeping an eye on the latest developments in the Epstein files. You may have already seen this in tonight's news, but President Donald Trump has done a complete U-turn and told Republicans to support the vote to release the files. Now, this is despite his previous objections. And it's quite interesting because the Democrats released a couple of emails and then the Republicans released 20,000 pages. And in one of the emails, there is this bizarre quote from Epstein's brother that says, does Putin have the photo of Trump blowing Bubba? Now, the internet has gone wild on this. They even did a big joke about it on Saturday Night Live in the US. Bubba. Bill Clinton's nickname is Bubba. So there's this whole Donald Trump, Bill Clinton? So weird. Anyway, we're keeping an eye on that to see what happens over the next hour. The US is waking up now, so we'll get early reports. The morning show's going to air in the US, so we'll see what's happening, and I'll keep an eye out for any ranting by Trump. Now, look, before we dive in, a reminder, you can join the conversation live. Just head to youtube.com/@McKnight hit subscribe, tap the bell, and jump into the live chat. Your comments, your reactions, they help shape the show every single night. And on the weekend, yesterday in fact, I did a live stream with the paid subscribers. People jumped on, and it was just, they never know when it's coming, but when it does, they jump on, and if they miss it, they can watch it later. So that's a benefit for our paid subscribers. And this Friday, I'll be doing a Zoom chat with all the paid subscribers. I'll be sending out a Zoom link, and we'll get on and we can just have a conversation. So we're doing that at 7 p.m. Queensland time. That's 8 p.m. Sydney, New South Wales and Victoria time. I will give out more details. And one little programming note. No McKnight Tonight on Wednesday. My middle daughter is having a school function that I'm going to. She's getting an award. I need to be there for that. So no McKnight Tonight on Wednesday. I think we've got everything out of the way, Amanda. I feel like I've spoken more than every other episode of McKnight Tonight. All right. Coming up in this edition of McKnight Tonight, the Liberal leadership question, with moderates turning on Sussan Ley, Victoria's tough new youth crime overhaul doesn't fix anything, the Big Brother moment that left one contestant in tears and viewers furious, and Rob's rant, another farcical push for 30km/h speed zones, and calls for porn site ID checks, a debate about safety versus surveillance. All that and plenty more in tonight's edition of McKnight Tonight. Let's get into it. Sussan Ley's leadership is in trouble, big trouble. And in my opinion, she'll be lucky if she's still in the position by Christmas. Over the weekend, the Sunday Telegraph ran a feature interview with wannabe leader Angus Taylor in what seemed to be an endorsement of his leadership ambitions. Not that he wanted to talk about that, of course. But the kicker came with a new poll showing more bad news for Ley. According to the Australian Financial Review Redbridge Accent Research poll, the primary vote for the Liberal Party has crashed to just 24%. That is an historic low. Now, rumours are swirling. Moderates in the party are shifting their votes away from Sussan Ley towards Andrew Hastie. That's a claim some moderates deny.
Well, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of my colleagues this morning, and I can confirm that every single one of the moderates that I spoke to this morning supports Sussan Ley as the leader of our party, and just wanted to make sure that was very clear given the speculation that we've seen in the media overnight.
That's fine, but some moderates seem to be shifting their support to Hastie, and maybe they're not being honest with her. And the other part here is that moderates don't control the party. It's a big party full of those on the right and those on the left within the right-leaning Liberal Party. So do the moderates have enough control to keep Sussan Ley in line, basically? And for her part, Sussan Ley seems to be burying her head in the sand.
Well, I'm not interested in polling, and I'm not interested in public commentary about polling. What I'm interested in is this plan.
A politician who's not interested in polling, unless their poll numbers are good. I mean, that is a lie. I will happily call that out. That is just a lie. How can we believe her when she's lying on something so basic? If I'm a politician, I'm interested in polls. I want to know where I stand. My political future depends on it. Make no mistake, when your poll numbers are collapsing and your party's papers are queuing up your replacement, the writing is on the wall. Here's my prediction. Andrew Hastie will be the leader of the Liberal Party before Christmas, before being shafted by Angus Taylor sometime next year. That is the long-term plan. Angus Taylor, you don't get a spread like he did in the Sunday Telegraph unless he's expected to become the leader at some point. That's just how it works. And this isn't a female thing. I just don't think Sussan Ley's a very good leader. Nothing to do with sex. I just don't think she's been effective in the role. She's been given a chance. She's made some bizarre calls. She's made some bizarre attacks on Labor over the wrong issues. This just isn't working, and she has to go. All right, let me know your thoughts by leaving your comment in the comment section of this video at youtube.com/@McKnight tonight. And look, if you are a long-term watcher but have never made a comment, make a comment tonight. Let me know you're there. I see live viewers who don't comment. We've got our lovely regulars, but I'd love to hear some new voices as well. So come on. They're all friendly. They'll say hello. They'll love you. They're very, very good people, even when they disagree. All right, let's move on. Victoria wants tougher consequences for young offenders. Also, it says the government has announced a plan that would allow children aged as young as 14 to be tried in adult court for serious violent offences and face life sentences. And facing a backlash over the rise in youth crime, Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen wants to appear tough on the issue. Under the so-called adult time for violent crime reform, children 14 and over charged with crimes like aggravated home invasion, aggravated carjacking, serious machete attacks, or aggravated burglary will be automatically shifted from the children's court to the county court unless there are substantial and compelling reasons to stay in youth court. The maximum custodial penalty in the youth court is currently 3 years. In the adult court, it's 25 years. Under the reform, the maximum for certain crimes is being increased to life imprisonment. The reform also removes the principle that detention must be a last resort for youth offenders, emphasises victim impact and community safety, and fast-tracks adult court resources for these cases. Sounds good, doesn't it? And there is some positive in there. But are you noticing something missing? Minimum sentencing. It's all about maximum sentencing. So yes, there can be life imprisonment as a maximum sentence. But what's the likelihood judges are going to give that? The problem is when you don't increase the minimum, you don't really change anything. And we saw this up here in Queensland when the Labor government, the previous government, did the same thing. They wanted to look tough on crime and especially youth crime. And they said, we're increasing the maximum sentencing. Did it change a goddamn thing? No, it did not. And why? Because there was no fear. It meant nothing. A maximum sentence meant nothing to these kids because the minimum was still the same. When David Crisafulli came in with the Liberal government, they did the adult time for adult crime. And so far, it has brought youth crime down. Victoria has a major issue. Melbourne has a major issue with youth crime. And it is hard for a Labor government who want to appear tough on crime, but they actually don't follow through. This is a Labor playbook. As I said, we saw the exact same thing happen in Queensland. Don't fall for it. Until minimum sentences are increased, you won't get any changes, and none of these kids will be scared of the consequences. And that's what we're trying to achieve here. We want them scared of the consequences. But look, while we're talking crime and punishment, did you see this story? A convicted murderer has launched a legal fight to overturn a ban on him eating Vegemite behind bars. Andre McKnight, he claims he has no access to Australia's favourite spread. Now, he reckons the Department of Justice and Community Safety and Corrections Victoria has breached his human rights and stopped him from enjoying his culture. I don't know about the enjoying his culture malarkey, and what he's trying to do is, I'm an Aussie, eating Vegemite is my culture, so he's going down that whole path. But he does have a point. It is inhumane to stop anyone from being able to eat Vegemite. In prison, it's probably about the only thing I'd be able to eat, toast and Vegemite. I'm a very plain eater. But I don't care what you've done. Everyone deserves their Vegemite on toast. Absolutely everyone. So, Victoria, give the man his Vegemite. Punish him however you want, but not with the Vegemite. Not with the Vegemite. You know, there is a line.
McKnight tonight. McKnight tonight.
Tonight.
I'm good to have a drink tonight. Here comes McKnight tonight.
Well, the latest season of Big Brother Australia has sparked a backlash, and not over eliminations or alliances, but over a controversial ranking challenge that's left viewers asking, when does reality TV cross the line? In the episode in question, housemates were forced to rank each other on attributes like intelligence and attractiveness. And one 21-year-old MMA fighter named Colin, well, he ended up being placed last for intelligence.
So,
Oh, here we go.
the category is most to least intelligent.
This is going to be a fun
Don't
one.
know. No heartstrings attached,
This
are
one
they?
might sting.
Look, at the end of the day, I've got to do this based on what I think the
Yep, you do
public
what
is
you gotta
thinking,
do.
right?
Do
So
what
it's
you gotta
actually
do.
quite difficult.
Yep.
Like, I don't think anyone is stupid.
All right, start going.
Okay, I'm putting Connor most.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I just think you're just your
the
brain's
glasses.
going a million miles an hour, bro. And I think people are going to think that. And okay, Colin, don't think I'm an asshole.
No, I expected that one coming a mile away, my brother.
I've got to say, because you go around saying bruv and all this sort of stuff, I think I'm basing this on you've been the biggest sort of larrikin, so I think people might just vote you as the least.
Colin, do you think you are the least intelligent housemate?
I mean, like, I feel like you can't really gauge that in like a couple days, but I take this one on the chin, big brother. Just don't ask me math questions, bro.
Bro, I can't do math either, bro.
What's 9 plus 10? We can't do this right now, bro. 20.
Okay, he's in the right spot.
Geez, that's rough. Well, that then led to this moment where Colin broke down, feeling humiliated.
Hi.
Colin,
Hi.
what's wrong?
No, it's like no, nothing. I don't know. I don't know. Nothing's like wrong. I just I don't know. Just like the way that my head is, or like just like the way that I am. I don't know. I've just heard that sort of stuff like my whole life. Like, well, like you're too loud, or you're stupid, or yeah, I don't know. My self-esteem isn't the highest, you know. So I guess it just hurts a little bit to know that if I'm the best at something, is that people think I'm the best in being stupid. I have way more to like offer. Like I don't think I'm stupid. I just, obviously the best parts about me, I feel that make me different, make me, come off as really, silly. And I am. I make people smile and I make people feel heard. So if I don't, tick a few boxes when it comes to, how many times I say or bro or, the weird way that I speak, then so be it.
Well, the one thing he can take is he will win Big Brother thanks to that stupid stunt. Viewers took to social media to tag the stunt cruel, toxic and completely unnecessary. It's hard to disagree. They argue that a task meant for entertainment instead became a lived moment of humiliation. And I agree with that. This season of Big Brother has been fantastic. Endemol Shine and Channel 10 have done a great job. They've gone back to basics. They've gone back to the core of the show. The show always had heart. And I don't remember the show embarrassing people like this. The moment when you do a ranking challenge on anything, on attractiveness, on what do you do next? Fattest to thinnest? The moment you do that about intelligence, you are setting someone up for a fall. And this kid obviously has had this his whole life, which they would have known because they do psychological profiles. And I reckon they would have guessed that he'd be picked as the least intelligent and that it would prick at him. I don't think any of this came as a surprise. They even had a big prepared speech to buck him up afterwards. Maybe I'm being cynical. Maybe the producer did a great job because after that, there is a great moment where Big Brother talks to him and builds him up. Really nice moment. They've got it seemed prepared. And if it wasn't, congratulations to whoever that producer was. But this is a moment where in 2025, we decide what kind of TV we want. I want the realism of Big Brother. I love what they're doing. I don't want these stupid manipulation games. They really hurt this kid. And I think the only benefit that will come out of this is that he has gained a lot of sympathy with the people, with the viewers. I reckon he will win Big Brother. I think that is the determining moment where he has won Big Brother. But there's a lot to talk about regarding Big Brother. Tomorrow on Media McKnight, I'm going to be looking at some of the criticisms over Big Brother's live stream. I'm a big supporter of the live stream, but there is controversy brewing over racist remarks witnessed by viewers. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of live streams and what we should expect if we're tuning into them. Join me for that one tomorrow at Media McKnight, 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Time. But do you think this one went too far? Let me know.
It's the Rant Live Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the Random Live Shot of the Day.
Yes, it's our random live shot of the day. Have you missed it? And given we're edging closer to Christmas, I thought we'd head somewhere a little magical. This is Santa Claus Village in Rovaniemi, right on the Arctic Circle in Lapland, Finland. Yes, the real place. And yes, according to the Finns, the real Santa lives there. At this village, you can meet Santa every day of the year. You can literally walk across the Arctic Circle, visit the workshops, watch the reindeer, and see where Santa and his team prepare the Christmas mission, which officially includes boosting the well-being of children and reminding grown-ups to be a little kinder. That's fantastic, isn't it? And look, whether you're into Christmas or not, it's hard not to smile at a place built entirely around goodwill, joy, and the belief in something bigger than ourselves. It's really one of the most charming live streams we've featured. It's 20 past 12 in the afternoon. It's minus 16 degrees. And can we go back a minute? Thank you. So the temperature range is minus 19 with a high of minus 13. And it's funny, when I was getting the weather information, it couldn't deal with the negatives and actually had 19 is the high and 13 is the low because it was negatives, and for some reason the weather websites couldn't work it out. So yeah, minus 16 degrees. All right, let's take a look at some of the feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight. Rob, you should really be promoting your TikTok. That's how you can get brand deals. Well, it's funny you say that, Beck. I'm on TikTok at Rob_McKnight, and I have over 10,000 followers on TikTok. I was putting these shows through there live, but TikTok didn't really like it, and technically it wasn't overly working, so I stopped doing that. But I do post clips there, and they work for some reason. Since I started in February, over 10,000 people are following me on TikTok. It's really interesting. YouTube is harder to penetrate, and I think we have we're getting close to the 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, but our view count is doing really, really well, and I am actually monetizing. So yeah, thank you though. But visit me on TikTok, Robert _McKnight. It's the Robert _McKnight. And You're Crazy says, I hope Rob's voice holds out. I do too. Over the page we go. Beck says, Amanda, get the husband water. What's the husband water? Oh, get the husband water. I thought husband water was a special thing.
I just thought it was whiskey.
I tell you what, maybe I need a whiskey for the throat, Amanda. A bourbon. What do you reckon?
Honey and lemon will be just fine, I think.
Well, it's got a bit cold now. All right. How can people buy a mug, Rob? Oh, Dylan, I'm glad you asked. Okay. I will have full details on Thursday. There's the connection between where I sell them and the YouTube has broken. I will fix it up, and I'll give the Shopify or whatever it is a proper name so it's easy to find. Thank you for pushing me. Own Your Crazy says, how about Amanda talks and Rob lip syncs? I think that'd be good. That's a good idea. We may have to... Beck says, I'm a Green supporter but would go towards Labor more, so I don't really want Sussan Ley to go. We need to do a better job of promoting women. It was also good for the party. Yeah, it was. And sorry, I'm taking breaks to just cough. Matthew says, the UN also says the internet is a human right. Should they have the internet in jail? Good question, Matthew. Good question, Matthew. I'd rather them have Vegemite than the internet. But I'm not against them having the internet, to be honest. But I will... What the hell's going on over there? Have you been into my bourbon?
Yeah, I'm trigger happy, sorry. Keep going.
I've forgotten what I was saying. Wrap it up. Jasmine just looked at me and went, wrap it up.
Here we go, one more.
Mikey Sparky says, what is intelligence? Who is good at general knowledge? Who is good at sports? Who is good at science? Who is good at arts? Who is good at kindness? What is actual intelligence? I've got the answer, Mikey Sparky. McKnight. Well, you know what time it's for? I think we haven't had the chance yet. Let's have a rant. All right, I've talked about this one before, and clearly they didn't listen, because the Greens are now back with a new bill, this time in New South Wales, that would slash speed limits on local streets to 30 kilometres an hour. Yes, 30 kilometres an hour. That is a speed so slow, you will be overtaken by mobility scooters. Now, according to the Daily Telegraph, Greens MP Kobe Shetty wants 30k zones rolled out across build-up local streets, arguing it will reduce road trauma and make communities safer. They point to places like London, Tokyo and Paris, but here's what they don't mention. When Sydney City Council pushed the same idea, the consultation revealed just 6 submissions in favour. 6 out of an entire CBD. How many people live in Sydney now? What is it, 6 million, 7 million? So this isn't exactly the will of the people. And here's my problem again. We shouldn't be treating drivers like the enemy. most of us are responsible. Most of us do the right thing. Dropping limits to 30 kilometres doesn't make the road safer. It just makes the road slower and gets people frustrated. It clogs traffic, increases frustration, and does nothing to fix the real issues like pedestrian behaviour, road design, and proper policing. You know, it's like the idea currently where you'll have a school that has an overhead bridge and no way for kids to get across, but you still have to do 40 in that zone. It's ridiculous. The fact is, kids will still make mistakes, but we can't put everything in cotton wool. We still have to be able to get about, and I hate the people who say, well, you can only go 30 kilometres around the city. Bullshit. That is just not true. The fact is, yes, sometimes there is a lot of traffic and you can only do 20 or 10 kilometres an hour. But it's not the case 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Seriously, we are at a point, 30 kilometres is ridiculous. We live in an industrialised world. And the people affected by this, the Greens, well, they live in inner city. They don't need cars to get around. They can afford to live where they work. Whereas other people are driving in from the city to get to their jobs or go to other city centres to be able to do jobs or do their work. But the Greens don't care about them because they don't matter. Because they're not their constituents. We need to appreciate that the answer to everything isn't making everything slower. Otherwise, let's just do 10 kilometres on every freeway. Yeah, it's a stupid idea, but that's the point. It doesn't do anything to save lives. I haven't seen any of that evidence. Yes, I've seen the crash tests where if you go slower, there's less of an impact. Of course, I get that. But how far do you take that? If we do 0, there'll be no impact. We have to live in a world where tragedy happens. It is tragic when bad things happen. But they happen. Let's try and make the roads better, proper design, and maybe some pedestrian behaviour. Maybe pedestrians that jump out between 2 cars onto the road have to take responsibility. When a car's coming up and there's 2 parked cars and they just pop out, maybe they're at fault and not the driver behind the wheel. So we have to slow down because of those idiots. Give me a break. It's Rob's Rant. Yes, I might be sick, but I can still have a rant. Don't you worry about that. I'd have to be almost dead to not have a rant. No, I reckon on my deathbed I'll be ranting about something. What do you reckon? All right, let's move on because we're moving on to a story that touches on a disturbing trend and a controversial response. Advocates in Australia are urging the federal government to follow the lead of the UK and outlaw pornography that depicts strangulation or choking during sex. The concern, young people are being exposed to violent sexual content, and researchers say acts of non-fatal strangulation are showing up in intimate relationships, even if the participants don't fully recognise the danger. Now, at the same time, the government is moving ahead with stricter age verification rules for access to adult content. I didn't actually realise this, but from March next year, sites may require ID checks, credit cards, or even facial recognition. Now, look, on one hand, we do have to push to protect young people from harmful sexual content. I agree with that. But on the other, we face a looming shift in adult privacy. Every time you want to watch porn, can you imagine you have to hand over your ID, your credit card, your face? That's where I don't like where this is heading. I don't disagree that the choking porn content is alarming and it clearly raises serious questions. But I do worry when the fix becomes so heavy-handed that we end up trading adult privacy for the surveillance. Now, what I also find interesting is that the under 16 social media ban, which is coming in December 10, it forbids companies from using ID and credit cards to verify identity. So why can't porn sites do the same thing? The Safety Commissioner keeps telling us that these companies know straight away how old you are. They can tell. So surely porn sites should be able to do the same thing. This idea that you have to hand over credit card information, ID to porn sites? It is a gross, it's censorship and it's an invasion of privacy. You just know that the government's going to be able to get hold of the information and find out what you're looking at. It is beyond ridiculous. And it's not what this country is about. Yes, I know we leave digital footprints everywhere. I get that. I understand that. But we still have the right to feel like the government isn't watching us if we're going to these sites. If they're illegal, shut them down. But if they're legal, let Australians go to the websites they want to go to. And obviously, you need to help educate younger people about what is and isn't real when it comes to porn. You need to say what you're seeing is a fantasy version of a relationship. It's not reality. I don't know how you put it, but there's experts out there that can surely go out and teach this stuff. Because even if you put all these measures in place, I'm sure a VPN will just get these kids around it. They'll just go to a VPN, pretend they're in another country and not have to deal with these. But the porn companies will love it. They would love to have your credit card on file. They would love to have your ID. That is a recipe for disaster. And we deserve better.
We've invited you here. You don't need to apologise for your story or for what you're saying. I heard the yapping. There was a lot I didn't understand about myself until I had that diagnosis. Don't get the shitties with me. Oh, Guy, no, that's Guy.
Fun, insightful interviews from a washed-up producer with up in the blue. McKnight tonight. McKnight tonight. Here comes McKnight tonight.
You know what? I have a very good family. Jazzy has just made me a brand new honey and lemon tea. So, thank you, Jazzy. All right. I think we can fit one in. Even when we're sick, as always, we can pull through and have a back-end quickie.
It's time for a back-end quickie.
I forgot about that. Tickles my fancy. Oh, I don't know why. It just does. Hey, this one I've got is a couple of life fails that happened. That's on. I found on YouTube today. Have a look. They don't need any setup. Just have a look. We've got a couple of them. Oh, the poor woman.
I think my phone is there.
Oh, no.
God damn it!
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Oh my God!
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You know, I meant to cut that second one out because it wasn't funny, but I think I ran out of time. I once had my car. When I lived in Wollongong, I lived at a place that was at the top of a hill, was on a hill. And anyway, I had a manual car, and every time I'd park it in the garage, I'd put it into first as well as the handbrake so it couldn't go anywhere. You know, putting it in first helps lock it. Anyway, one time I've come home with some Maccas. I've driven up. I've gone into the garage. I've gone into the room. I'm eating my Maccas, and I suddenly hear this. I'm like, looking out the window, what's going on out there? Anyway, I look out the window. Why, that's a weird park. Who parked there? Hang on, that's my car. I had left the garage door open. I hadn't pulled the handbrake up, and I hadn't put the car in first. And the car went down the hill, went down the driveway, and across the road and crashed into a light pole. Thankfully, no cars were coming in the street at that point because they wouldn't have heard it coming because the car wasn't on. It was just one of those things where, to this day, I feel so thankful that no one was hurt. Just such a stupid thing, such a stupid thing. All right, let's take a look at the feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight. I got this one from Own You're Crazy. Get the rabble to read out the feedback. Is the rabble Jasmine and Amanda? Do you want to read out the feedback, Amanda?
No thanks.
Go on.
I'm enjoying watching you struggle.
Put the next page up and you read it out, and then I'll react.
No thanks.
Oh, jeez.
Have a drink. Nah. You go.
All right, Mikey Spikey says anything below 50 kilometres per hour should just be non-car roads. Otherwise, it is just not realistic. Make your choice. The majority of drivers do the right thing. This is a clear overreach for little good. Yes, Mikey Spikey, legend. Okay, what have we got as the next one? Beck says, so Amanda, is Rob texting you from the other end of the room during the day to save his voice?
He wouldn't dare.
Beck, I just do this.
Time for another back end quickie. That's where the bell's going.
Oh, right. I thought I was on a promise. Mum says, hello, Mum. I could probably walk faster than 30 kilometres in a car. It's bad enough going 50k down here. She lives in Basin View. You have tourists right on your backside wanting you to go faster and overtaking. Thanks, Mum. Agree with you completely. Own You're Crazy says Brisbane City Council approves new estates that are so narrow they are barely wide enough to serve as a bike lane. Yeah, I think that's a major problem too. I think that is a major problem, that we're not doing streets to proper sizes. Matthew says getting people to push the car in build-up areas will make the road even safer. Let's do it. Yeah, that's right. Just push the car instead. We'll become the Flintstones. We'll become the Flintstones. Own You're Crazy says the entire estate I live in is 40 kilometres per hour zone. It works because of how narrow the streets are. Well, look, if the conditions are for that, if the streets serve that they're so narrow it needs to be 40 kilometres, then fine. But we have these blanket rules. It just does my head in. Anyway, that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of McKnight Tonight. I'm spreading up a little bit, to be honest. I'm hoping to have Media McKnight tomorrow, but I actually just can't guarantee it at this point. So we'll see what happens. We might see you tomorrow for Media McKnight. Otherwise, we're back on Thursday for McKnight Tonight. Have a great night. Thanks for your company and thanks for your well wishes. It's good night from McKnight.
It's good night.